So I got my Rode mic yesterday. I didn't have a chance to try it out. This is my Rode mic. Not using it right now because I plugged it into my computer, and it turns out that it doesn't actually the adapter. So the adapter is TRS. So there's one, two, three sections. Meanwhile, what I need is TRRS, so four sections. So I need to get an adapter for the Rode mic, but I tested it out on my phone because my phone somehow supports TRRS and TRS. So I was able to test it on my phone, both of them, compare them side by side. And the Boya mic seems to just be better because it was louder, it was less staticky. So for the Rode mic, I had to boost the volume. And once I boosted the volume to an equal volume, there was a bunch of static. Naturally, that makes sense. But the Boya mic just didn't have static at that volume, and it was crazy loud. So why did I even get the Rode mic? I think I might just return. I think I will just return it because if that's the case, there's just no point. There's no point on having the Rode mic. I mean, what does it really do? Yeah, so I'm gonna see, for some reason, it's really loud. Ah, that's why. Okay. I think the volume should be a bit better. It was just, anyways. Today's the day. I was gonna say, or yesterday, not even yesterday. What am I saying? Okay. Oh my, I can't focus. Something is up because I just feel tired and like just can't focus. It's a Saturday. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, what I wanted to talk about was breakup advice. I meant to talk about that earlier. Like 2 days ago? Three? No, probably more, like 5 days ago or something. But I just ran into assignments and just got really busy. So I didn't have the time to do it. And I also didn't, it wasn't on my mind. So even if I did make a video, it probably wouldn't have been about breakup. Unfortunately, breakup advice. We'll work on it now. Okay, already 3 minutes in, and I haven't even talked about the subject. Okay, so first point, I'm gonna take a break really quick. Okay, I thought for a little bit, and I realized that I don't want to ruin the breakup advice video, just by talking about Rode mics and myself and not giving any valuable information. I should save that for another video. And this one's just going to be more of vlog style, but the breakup advice, I realize is just going to feel like a chore to do, but I think it's a chore that I should do because it's advice that people could benefit from. And even if I don't, okay, yeah, you don't feel like doing it, don't feel like giving out this advice, this information, it's still good to give out this information. And I know at some point I will want to give out this information, like when I go through another breakup, but I think that's going to be a while from now. And I don't want to wait to give that information. In fact, I could just give out 2 breakup advice information videos. So, sorry to get your hopes up. Today is going to be more about just, I don't know, the note that I chose today is fears. I wrote this back in September last year, 2024. And first point. So, okay, before I go on to this, I think I know why I'm so distracted right now. And I, of course, initially didn't want to talk about it, but I think I probably should, just for my own sake. And even if nobody hears this, that's probably best. But if somebody hears this, cool. I'm starting like it's really strange because I would consider myself really social and being able to socialize. Like I don't have a fear with socialization and I can talk with girls and I'm very confident in picking up a girl, but all the girls that I meet, they're so cringe, we'll say. They're not for me. Like they're at least in Canada, everyone's so left leaning and it's so annoying because there's no girls that I can actually relate with that actually agree with me on hard stances. Like the only stances that I really hold strongly are LGBT and abortion and also religion, just being Catholic. And really all you have to do is just find a Catholic girl and boom, you're done. Not even Catholic, just generally Christian. Well, Christian that isn't super progressive. So recently Christian denominations have started to, at least the really progressive ones. Hmm. The woke ones, we'll say. Christian denominations are starting to, or Christian churches. So not even the denomination itself, because the denomination tries to hold roots in Christianity, but there's churches of these different denominations that are starting to put up pride flags in front of their church, their parishes, their churches, whatever they call them, their place of worship, and they're starting to accept things that shouldn't be accepted, that were never, that are not Catholic doctrine, and I understand that Christians are not, do not believe in Catholic doctrine completely. That's because they're Christian and they're not Catholic, right? Like okay, I'm making this false dichotomy between Catholics and Christians, but Catholics are Christians. But when I say Christians, I mean more Protestants. So maybe I should specify Protestants. Anyways, these Protestants, yeah, like the point that I was getting to is that you don't, it's no longer applicable for me to get a girlfriend that is Christian. I need one that is Catholic, one that upholds these values. And the only way you're going to find a girl that upholds these values is if she's Catholic. Because you're not going to find a girl. There are all girls I've met are left leaning if they're not Catholic, unless they're from the Middle East. Yeah. Because I'm thinking even Asian, they're very accepting of all these values that I don't support. Too inclusive, we'll say. I mean, when I say too inclusive, I mean they're supportive of things that they shouldn't be supported of. They don't think critically about. Right. So my point is, I've got to find a Catholic girl, and okay, that's not a problem. Except no, it is. Except I can't. Like, or if I do find a Catholic girl, I have, I have no attraction to her whatsoever. And I was thinking maybe this is a good thing because that would mean that when I do find a Catholic girl that I am attracted to, that must be the girl that I marry. That must be a sign, right? But it's also frustrating because I should on paper get along with these really incredibly wonderful girls, but I just can't because there's no attraction. I'm just not attracted. Like, what does it even mean to be attracted to? And attraction, I understand attraction grows, but it's still like there should at least be something initial for me to want to keep on hanging out with that person. Like, I shouldn't need to force myself to keep on hanging out with that person. And it feels so platonic too, hanging out with these girls that I don't find attractive, but that are Catholic and that are really cool. So that's frustrating. So I look elsewhere. I look to approach girls that are not Catholic, but I like I realize I shouldn't. It's not that maybe I shouldn't. It's that I should not. I just can't. Like, I can't compromise my values. It just sucks, man. It feels like I just gotta go to the United States. I just have to move to the United States. There's no solution other than that. And in the United States, I'll find way more girls that are actually more like minded. And with that idea in mind, if I find that there are a larger pool, there's more likelihood of me running into a girl that I actually find attractive. And she holds all these values and she's Catholic, or even if she's not Catholic, she's faithful or Christian or in some sort of religion that upholds these values. Am I being too picky? Apparently. But it's for the best. Okay, 12 minutes. Now I'm going to talk about fears. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about fears. So I wrote this back in September. This is a note, 2024. Fears. Do we only fear unknown? I watched a YouTube video that said all our fears stem from the unknown. But I don't think that's true. There's some things that we know and we're still afraid of. For example, death. We know it's inevitable, but maybe it's not the inevitability that we're afraid of. No, it is. It is for some people the inevitability that we will die. But it's more the fact that death is scary itself is more the unknown, that we don't know what's going to happen after death. And you can say some people know that they're going to heaven, or some people know that there is no heaven, but they don't know. They make that presumption to the best of their ability, but they don't truly know. So I guess you could technically say we only fear the unknown, but for example, if you told me tomorrow you will meet a serial killer and he will dismember you, like you tell me exactly what will happen. He will follow you home and he will at exactly 9:12 p.m. and he will open the door and choke you and then keep you conscious and then cut off your limbs. Like, yeah, I'd still be afraid. Would I be afraid? I'd be mad. Nah, I wouldn't be mad. I'd be afraid. I'd be afraid and I'd be fearing till 9 p.m. because I know it's going to happen. But that doesn't mean that I still can't be afraid. But if you look at horror movies, you see all of the fears play off of the unknown. Like there's always that situation. It can only be a horror. It can only be scary because you don't know what's going to happen to you. Like the unimaginable, what your imagination picks up or creates is what's most scary to you. So the way they do horror movies is they have to make it so that the protagonist is running away, is just out of the grasp of the killer or the fictitious monster. And at some point, like we don't know what's going to happen if the monster catches this person. Is it death? Oh, well, death I can deal with. No, it must be torture. Okay, what kind of torture? It's mental, physical, and just like any kind of torture you can think of. And so the one that comes to mind, really the only horror movie that I've watched is Smile 2. Haven't even watched the first Smile. And Smile 2 was really creepy because it was just a smile, like the person would smile, so you know it would happen and there's no escaping it or something. And then from that, the protagonist will try to escape, but you know they can't escape. And at some point they will get caught up with the parasite. It was a little virus parasite thing. So the parasite will catch up to them and do something. But you didn't know exactly what. Like at the end of the movie, you knew that the parasite would kill the person and the person would die by, I mean, at the very start of the movie, they showed the guy who originally had the parasite die by slamming a 45 plate on his head multiple times until like the skin tore off and he started bleeding and he just died, but he was still smiling and whatever. So I guess at that point you can say, okay, that's what's going to happen. But like you don't know in between. Like you see characters smile throughout the movie and then you're like, okay, now how is she going to die? How could she, what torture is going to ensue here? And you can only imagine all the ways that she could not even die, because die is release, you know? Like once I die, that's good. I'm done. That nothing worse can happen to me. But no, this torture. So what torture can go on here? So there's always that lingering feeling of like, I don't know what's going to happen. And that's what makes it fearful. That's what makes it a horror. If I knew I was going to die, would I be scared? Yeah, so I already talked about this. I wouldn't. No, I would. I would still be, I don't know if scared is the exact word. I would be anxious. Yeah, so maybe it isn't fear. I would be anxious for it. Because I know it's going to happen. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that it could be true that the fear is you can only fear the unknown. So that serial killer example where he just comes through my door and like dismembers me and whatever. I know at the exact time and I know exactly what's going to happen. I know all the details. I won't be scared, but I will be anxious because I know what will happen. And I know it will be certain. And I think this makes me think of Jesus in the garden, where, okay, if you haven't heard this, basically, Jesus knew he was going to die on the Friday. Well, no, okay, not on the Friday. Wait a second. Was it on the Friday? Oh my goodness, I'm an awful Christian. Friday. Yeah. Yeah, it was all the same day. It was all the same day. Yeah, it was all the same day. It was all the same day. It was Friday. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I knew that. I knew that. Wait, was it Thursday? No, okay, it was Thursday. It was Thursday. It was like in the garden on Thursday, and then he died on Friday. Good Friday. And then something Thursday. Damn it, I can't remember. Okay. It was Thursday. I know. I know. I'm a good Christian. I'm a good Catholic. So basically, he's in the garden praying with his disciples, and they, with his, yeah, yeah. I was just thinking the difference between apostles and disciples, but I think apostles is more accurate because all of them were technically, uh, no, disciples because, yeah, all of his, yeah, okay, same thing, whatever, doesn't matter. So he was with his apostles and disciples, and he starts bleeding, he starts sweating blood. So that's known to happen if you're really stressed. But like you have to be insanely stressed. And, well, he knew he was going to die, so he's insanely stressed. But he's not scared. Like he knows what's going to happen. He knows. But it's just anxiousness. That's true torture. Like he knows. It's not that he thinks or that somebody told him and he's like, yeah, that's probably going to happen. No, he's like it's guaranteed and he knows for certain. Like that is something that you cannot get ever. Because there's always people that are saying like in horror movies even, you get this hopefulness. You get like, oh well I could escape. Maybe I can escape. Like he could escape. But it is guaranteed that he is going to die. And he's accepted it. Oh, wild. That is really powerful, deep, and like that is pure torture. Okay. I know I'm gonna die eventually, and I'm not scared. Why would years make a difference? Like why? Like I know I'm gonna die later in my life, or maybe now, but likely, like I am guaranteed to die, is what I was saying. So why would I be scared of death at 89? Why am I not scared of death at 89? Because it's not close, but relatively, it's not close. Like relative, everything is relative, right? Like close, what does it even mean to be close? What the time that I've lived so far is not close to 89. It seems kind of absurd if you think about it, but I don't think fears can be really rationalized. And so the first statement, I know I'm going to die eventually, and I'm not scared. Yeah, I would say that's true. I was going to say, like, this is my last point though, but I'll just skip to it quickly right now. I am afraid to die now, and I don't want to die. And recently, I've actually felt like I love life and I enjoy it. But September, back when I wrote this note, I didn't care. Like, I was fine with dying. And there's this idea of passive ideation where you'll do things that might be risky, but you won't care because you've accepted like suicide, you've accepted death. So you won't really self-preserve yourself. You won't preserve yourself. There's no self-preservation. But I think I have that now. So that means that I'm less depressed, hopefully. Or maybe, is that even a good thing? Should I be hopeful about that? Because it did give me a massive boost of confidence, but it also just felt like it sucked. But maybe it didn't actually suck. Maybe it grew me as a person. I guess some people are scared and don't see a point. Yeah, I'm not too sure what I meant by this. Because how can you be scared but not be nonchalant about it? Like if you're not scared, to me that's an indication that you don't care about dying. You don't see a point to living. Like that's why, yeah, that's why suicide, like there's no point on holding on. Are 90-year-olds suffering from anxiety, depression, and fear? I'm sure they are. I haven't researched this, but I am sure they are. But at the same time, I bet you're at most, like the majority of 90-year-olds are probably at most peace because they've just experienced life. They're kind of just done. They're like waiting to die. But they would be anxious for when the time is that death arrives. Would they be depressed though? I don't think they'd really be depressed. No, they would be because I think they'd be more depressed. Well, it feels like they'd be more depressed than younger people, but for some reason, younger people are incredibly depressed. Because think about it, if you're old, like, what is actually the point of you living? You have no value. You can't move, you can't function like you used to, like anybody else can. Everyone needs to cater to you. You depend on people. It's the regression of, it's the same state as a baby, basically. You're so dependent on people. But except you know how things work, but you still depend on people. You know how to do things, but you still need their help. There's nothing you can do about it. So that's even more depressing, I would say. Like, how do we not have a crisis of 90-year-olds just committing suicide and just like being incredibly depressed and medicated, heavily medicated, more than young people? A bit strange to me. Yeah, so what a nice topic to talk about. I didn't realize it'd take 28 minutes, but here we are, as usual.